Hello, hello, my dear health seeker. Inga from Health Origins here, and welcome to Weight Loss Unlocked. Sorry, not Weight Loss Unlocked, that's my program, Cook Along for Weight Loss show. And today I've got an exciting recipe for you. We're going to be making blackberry crumble, a very quick, easy, and tasty blackberry crumble. And we're not going to be using any added fats, margarines or oils or anything like that. So it'll be pretty healthy recipe. So here I've got the blackberries that actually we picked today, guys. So we've got another tub about that size as well. So just using nature's bounty, because it's blackberry season is really starting now. So if you've got some woodland around you, just go out there and get yourself some free blackberries and make yourself a blackberry crumble. So I'm heating my pan here, and so it's, like I said, it's about 4 cups of black. I'm gonna start heating them through. And in the meantime, we're going to be preparing, while they're heating through, releasing their juices. We're going to be preparing the crumble, the topping. So I'm not going to, in this live stream, I'm not going to actually bake and taste test the crumble for you, because that would, be 30 minutes of me waiting for the baking to finish. So I'm going to just show you how you prepare everything. And then all you're going to need to do is just put it in the oven for 30 minutes or at 200 degrees Celsius, and you'll have a tasty crumble. So the crumble, the top of the crumble will be made out of oats. So I've got 1 cup of oats. I've got half a cup of almonds. And if you're allergic to almonds, also use a different nut. Or if you're allergic to nuts, then you can use sunflower seeds for that as well. That would work too. So, or any kind of, seed, even like hemp seeds would probably work. Anything that's got a little bit of fat in them, to give that, nice, because we're not adding any oils. Or any margarine that normally is added, like a butter for your non-vegan version. So we're not using any of that, but a nut or seeds is, to add that kind of fat element to this, yet in a healthy way. So then I'm gonna put a little pinch of salt just to bring out that sweetness in it. So salt, just a little pinch of salt in sweet baking recipes, you always see people add it because it just accentuates that, brings out that sweetness even more. So mix your oats and your nuts. So it's just ground almonds. So basically, you can buy ready prepared almond flour. Almond meal, or you can just ground your almonds in like spice grinder, or even in your powerful like blender, like a Vitamix or Thermomix that I've got, or even NutriBullet would I think would work fine. So I'm mixing my oats and nut mixture. There's something dark in there. You might want to look through your oats, just make sure there's nothing that you want in there. A couple of darker bits. It's probably just some other seeds that got in while they were rolling the oats. So that's the dry bit done. And now we're going to need about 2 tablespoons. Oh, I think I didn't bring my measurement spoon. Just gonna... No, let me grab my measure. I was sure that I brought it. Just 1 second. No, it was just on the counter there. So I had the intention of bringing it. So basically, we need for this now to clump together to form little clumps or clusters for the crumble. So for that, so you could do it 2 ways, right? So you could use dry nuts like I'm using, and then use maple syrup. to kind of give it some moisture and stick it all together. Or if you want to use dry sugar, like some brown sugar, let's say, instead, then you could use nut butter instead of ground nuts. So I used to do it with the nut butter first, but actually I prefer it this way. I found it's easier, it's quicker, it's not as sticky as with the nut mixture. You kind of have to like massage it a little bit more. So I kind of like it this way better. So about a couple of tablespoons, and we'll see how that sticks it together. That should be enough, but we'll see. So that gives it just a little bit of sweetness, you know, to the oats and helps them to stick together, which we want. So I'm just gonna mix it with a spatula here, or you could just get in with hands, whichever you prefer. I kind of like to do it with the spatula, at least at first, and then when I see that if it doesn't distribute evenly, then I get it with my hands to finish it off. Here on camera. So yeah, so it's nicely getting clumped up a little bit, as if you can see, this likely nice clumps forming. So that's what you want for a good crumble. So yeah, and then I'm just gonna mix my berries a little bit. So they are getting heated up. I'm gonna increase it actually on 4. So we want the berries to, you know, start cooking and releasing that juice of theirs. So we don't need to add any extra liquid, especially for, you know, for blackberries. When I'm making apple crumble, for example, some apples are quite dry, so you might need to put a little bit, you know, a few tablespoons of water to start the process, to just kind of help with the consistency. And if your apples are really kind of not very juicy, then you might even have to put like a quarter or a cup of water, or even more, depends. But with the berries, what tends to happen, that they are very juicy themselves. And I've got an optional ingredient here as well. This is a tablespoon of tapioca flour, or you can use arrowroot, even better for like acidic things. Arrowroot is better option, but I'm out of arrowroot, but tapioca starch should work as well. So this is like 1 tablespoon of the starch with about a couple of tablespoons or 1.5 tablespoons of water, just to kind of dilute it, because we're making a slurry here. So if this gets a little bit too watery, and you know, maybe you don't want it so watery, the crumble, because I can see it's already getting very, very moist and juicy. It's released all the you'll probably not be able to see, but it released all the juices. So yeah, so now what we're gonna do, I've got 1/3 cup of sugar. In the recipe, I put a 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of sugar. It depends how sweet you like your crumble. Because the berries are naturally quite sweet, I'm not gonna put maybe all of the 1/3 cup of sugar just in straight away. I'm gonna maybe do a 1/4 cup to start with, and leave a little bit, and then I'll mix it in, and you know, let it kind of stew for a couple of minutes, and then I'll taste it to see whether it's sweet enough or it's too tart still. So it depends on your berries as well, how ripe your berries were, how sweet, and you know. So if they're tartar, then you might want to put a little bit more sugar. If they're sweeter, you might not need as much. So I'm using, just as you can see, normally I would use brown sugar, but we have some white sugar left over, and I kind of want to use it up. So I'm just using it in this recipe. But, you know, by all means, for a healthier substitution, you know, use rapadura sugar. Is the non-refined cane sugar, or demerara sugar, at least like brown sugar. I'm going to reduce it a little bit because it's simmering quite a bit. And don't do like me, don't use when making this, because this is you know, quite colored berries and they can be splattering. Don't use your whitest and best apron. Use something, you know, darker and that you're not afraid to spoil, just in case it splatters or you know, touch it. Because yeah, these things are very they dye things, as we found out today. You know, our hands were dyed, you know, some stuff on the clothes rubbed off. So yeah, you want to be careful with that. So yeah, so I think the crumble is pretty much good to go. It's nice and clumpy and kind of even looking. It smells so delicious, these berries. Oh, they just smell fantastic. It reminds me a little bit like of raspberries in a sense. When you cook raspberry jam, something similar. I guess they are from the same family. So yeah, so I think you don't need to cook them for very long because they also bake in the dish too. So I've got a glass dish. So this is like a Pyrex kind of oven-proof dish. So you could use either a glass dish or a clay dish, basically oven-proof dish that you want. And you know, and also another tip I forgot to mention, if you don't have so many blackberries but you fancy a blackberry crumble, if you've got like a couple of cups, let's say like 1 punnet that you buy in the shops, then you can bulk it up with apples, because apple and blackberry go really well. So just, you know, chop up some apples and, you know, boil it in together with the apples, and that will bulk up your crumble. We haven't got any apples to hand today, and plus we've got quite a few berries, so I'm just making a pure blackberry crumble here. So yeah, so I'm gonna now add the tapioca, because it is quite watery and probably don't want it that watery really, because if you added apples that would absorb a bit of moisture, a bit of tapioca. And you know, you need to make it a slurry with cold water straight into the hot pot. You'll get massive lumps of starch and it's just gonna be a mess. So that's how to put starch in hot dishes. You need to dilute it in cold water so it's like even, it's like a slurry, and then you add it. Oh, that looks really like jam now with it's the juice is thickened because I've added that starch. And all you need to do with tapioca or arrowroot just to bring it to boiling point, and it's pretty much ready. And because this was already boiling, that little bit of water didn't actually cool it down any, so it's already pretty much ready to go. And you'll see from me pouring this how nice and juicy that is. It's almost still too juicy, so perhaps you could, if you use arrowroot powder, it might, you know, be a little bit thicker, or you know, you can use 2 tablespoons of tapioca as well. So just pour your blackberries in. That smells so divine, delicious. So I've added all the berry goodness, and then now we're gonna sprinkle this on the top. Just take these bits off. I'm gonna sprinkle the crumble on the top, and you know, it's up to you. If you like more crumble, you might want to add a little bit more of the top ingredients that I made. You know, if you're not a fan, then this is probably enough, and depends how wide is your dish as well. If you know, if your dish is a little bit narrower, then you'll have a thicker layer of crumble at the top. So just trying to put it evenly over the top of this beautiful, oh, it smells so great, guys. I wish you could smell it. But you will smell it once you make it at home. And Mark couldn't wait to have it today. Yesterday we were saying, oh, can you make, after we gather those blackberries, can you make a crumble? And that's how I got the idea of actually, in fact, no, I think I thought of it before, but he, funny enough, also asked for a crumble. So yeah, so that's it, guys. I've distributed all the crumble evenly along the top. And voila, so this is now ready to go into the oven. My oven is preheating on 200 degrees Celsius, and it will take about 30 minutes. And, you know, check afterwards if you like it a little bit browner. You can maybe leave it for another 5-10 minutes. And if it doesn't brown evenly, you might want to turn it and, you know, leave it for a few minutes. So just basically, I think 30 minutes, and then any extra you have, you can work from that time. So that's it, guys. If you liked my recipe, give me a thumbs up. And once I bake it, I'll take a different picture and update the thumbnail so you can see how the crumble actually looked afterwards. But yeah, so if you like this live stream, this recipe, give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, welcome, and subscribe for more videos and live streams. I load a video every Wednesday and do this cook along for weight loss show every Sunday. And here on this channel, our motto is food is fuel. So be mindful of what you put in your body. Until next time, guys. See ya.